Kendrick Lamar potentially just gave us the verse of the year. Welcome back to the Voiceovers Podcast. I'm 24K Logan. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We got plenty of content on the way. So Kendrick Lamar has the world of hip hop shook up right now after his verse on Like That. Now, Metro Boomin was constantly, hinting that there were surprise features and whatnot, but I was not expecting Kendrick Lamar at all. At this point, it is very obvious that there is, competition, like a literal in-your-face competition between Kendrick Lamar against Drake and JCOLE. Now, it's kind of odd that it's like this, of course, for everybody in hip hop that ever wanted to see a Kendrick Lamar and JCOLE album, you might have to cancel that now according to what just transpired. And it's crazy to say that this might be the verse of the year, considering the fact that we haven't even reached April yet. But it is Kendrick Lamar, one of the greatest rappers of all time, arguably the greatest rapper of this generation or the new generation. So it's not such a surprise. But let's get into what Kendrick Lamar actually said on Like That. First person shooter. I hope they came with 3 switches. Of course, referring to First Person Shooter, the song that Drake and J. Cole had dropped towards the end of last year, roughly. And of course, on that song, J. Cole even referred to himself as the GOAT when he said he feels like Muhammad Ali, because of course, Muhammad Ali is heavily regarded as the greatest boxer or the GOAT. Motherfuck the big 3, it's just me. Motherfuck the big 3, is just me. That had to be the most obvious diss right there. In other words, Kendrick is saying there is no big 3. It's just me. I am the king. I am the greatest. I'm the GOAT. Not Drake, not J. Cole. That's basically what Kendrick is trying to say with that verse, and that he's in a class or a tier of his own compared to Drake and J. Cole. Your best work is a light pack. Some people feel like he was referring to when Drake had dropped the Care Package album. I don't know if that's exactly what that's geared towards, but I definitely think that was geared towards Drake. Prince outlived Mike Jack. Of course, saying that Prince outlived Michael Jackson. God rest both of their souls, by the way. But he's saying Prince outlived Michael Jackson, referring to how often in times, at least in recent years, there have been comparisons between Drake and Michael Jackson in terms of the numbers, or Drake and Michael Jackson have always been in, that same conversation or spoken about in the same sentence just because of the sales and the numbers that Drake has done throughout his career. And Kendrick, of course, has always been compared to Prince. It's almost been like people are saying Kendrick is the Prince of hip hop and Drake is the Michael Jackson, which I don't necessarily agree with either or. I feel like it's kind of weird to say that, but that's what the comparisons have been in recent years, and that's why he made that Prince outlived Mike Jack line. And arguably the craziest of them all, that's a K with all these 9s. He gonna see Pet Cemetery. Referring to his album, referring to Drake's album, All the Dogs, or For All the Dogs. And of course, when he says K9, obviously he's talking about the K9 dogs, the police dogs. He's dissing that entire album, basically. That's at least how I perceive it. Now, of course, Kendrick has shook up the world of hip hop with this verse. Now, what do I think is next to come? Well, I definitely think that a response from Drake and Cole is definitely on the horizon. However, I feel that Cole's response to this is going to be more anticipated, considering all the recent buzz and headlines that Cole has been making, especially now that he's dropped the Might Delete Later Volume 1 and Volume 2 vlogs. He has heavily been teasing the off season, which is believed to be his last and final studio album. And he has referred to himself as the GOAT, or the greatest, on multiple occasions. And also, he's been bodying a lot of his features, quite frankly. No disrespect to the other artists, but I think it's a no-brainer that J. Cole being featured on a song with pretty much anybody, he's going to have the better verse. That's just how it is. That's how it's been since 2018. He has been the feature king. But with all of that being put together, I think J. Cole's response is being more anticipated. So how is this verse exactly going to change things moving forward for hip hop, and particularly for Kendrick, Drake, and Cole? Well, I think when we're talking about Cole, he might potentially have to make some changes to the fall off. And I only say that because we don't know if Cole is going to drop a single sometime between now and the release of the fall off responding to Kendrick, or if he's just going to wait until the fall off and give his response there. But I think we all can agree that at this point, both Drake and J. Cole have got to respond to Kendrick Lamar. It is what it is. Do we expect it? Do I expect it? Yes. And I'm sure all of you watching this video expect there to be a response soon. At this point, there's no way, no how that Drake and Cole have not heard the news, the headlines. There's no way they haven't gotten any, type of word about it from people in their camp. It's out there. It's gone viral. It's possibly the biggest verse of the year. Is arguably the biggest moment that we've had in hip hop in a long time, at least in the last, I'm gonna say 2 to 3 years roughly. Let's not forget that when Kendrick drops music, particularly when he drops an album, he usually takes 3 to 5 years off before dropping another album, and damn near without dropping any music for that matter. So the fact that he came out of nowhere, dropped this verse, it was a deadly, scary verse, and it was clearly aimed at Drake and J. Cole. This is going to be interesting, guys. I mean, it's crazy how it's gotten to this point. Of course, the big three debate, the big three of hip hop, at least for the new generation or the current generation, is Drake, J. Cole, Kendrick. Some people might not agree, but let's be real. The majority of you will say that the big three of hip hop at this moment is Drake, Kendrick Lamar, and J. Cole. Wherever you rank them, whoever you think is 1, 2, or 3, that is the big three. And the fact that you have Kendrick Lamar going at both of these guys makes it even crazier. But if there's anybody who has the guts and the courage to make disses aimed directly at Drake and J. Cole, it would be none other than Kendrick Lamar. At this point, it's all just a waiting game for us. We have to see how this plays out. Again, we don't know when Drake or Cole is going to drop a response, but you can best believe this. They see it, they're coming. And I think even more so Cole. I stated in one of my last videos that I did on J. Cole. You guys can check that out as well. I'll leave the link in the description to that video. I stated how scary of a run it's been for J. Cole. How it's almost like he is on a true legit mission to become the greatest rapper that ever lived. And I also stated that I think that not only is J. Cole a top 10 rapper of all time, but he could potentially be making a significant push into the top 5 rapper of all time conversation along with Kendrick. And now with Kendrick dropping this verse, I think this is a battle test moment, if you will, for J. Cole. It's almost a no. Well, no, I'm not even going to say almost. It is a no-brainer that J. Cole responds to Kendrick Lamar. But I appreciate everybody so much for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for all the love and the support that you have been giving the channel. Comment down below what y'all think about Kendrick Lamar's recent verse aimed at Drake and J. Cole. What are your predictions going forward? And how do you think this is going to change things for Kendrick Lamar, Drake, and J. Cole? If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. hit that subscribe button. As I said, we got plenty of content on the way. And until next time, peace and love to everybody.